James Muhammad. Let's bring him on.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the One God, to whom all praise is due forever. We can never thank him enough for raising in our midst, as the scripture hath foretold, one that would come by the name of Elijah. But we can never stop there, and we have to thank this one for being a visionary, to know that our need in this day and in our dire hour would be one to guide us out of the muck and the mire, one who could eloquate the message so strong and swift, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And in their names, I want to greet you once again in the Arabic language of our mothers and fathers in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all, brothers and sisters, for coming out here today and taking out time from your busy schedule, because I know there's so much you could be doing. But you are the people of God, and you are called by a message from God and through a man of God. So I want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan, leader of the Nation of Islam. Please welcome him. Thank you, brothers and sisters. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Please receive him. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Thank you, sir. You sit right close to me, sir.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God, creator of all things, revealer of all truth, and sender of all prophets. To him alone do I submit and seek refuge. I thank Allah for Moses and the Torah, and as Muslims we believe in Allah, and we believe in Moses, and we believe in the Torah that came with Moses. We thank Allah for Jesus, and as Muslims we believe in Jesus, and we believe in the gospel brought by Jesus. We believe in Muhammad and the Holy Quran. We thank Allah for all of these worthy servants of God. But if I live to be 1,000, I don't think that I could do enough to show my gratitude for God's raising up in our midst a divine leader, teacher, and guide. The man who has made the Torah, the Gospel, and the Quran relevant books for the liberation struggle of our people in America and oppressed peoples throughout the world. The man that taught me what I know, the man that gave me the example of the man that I'm patterning my life after. I'm speaking of none other than my teacher, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. To our distinguished President, Dr. Cox, distinguished platform guests, my dear friend Bobby Jones, Dr. Houston Kelly, Reverend clergy, oh, and I see a long-time friend from Japan. I'm very honored to see you, my dear brother, once again. And to our brother, Schiff, President of the Student Government Association, and to all of you, my dear brothers and sisters. It is a great, great honor for me to be here tonight in Nashville, Tennessee, at this great institution of learning, Tennessee State University. I am deeply grateful to our brother Minister James Muhammad, without whose invitation and hard work and those who worked with him, this night could not have been possible. Please let us give Minister James Muhammad a warm round of applause. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And Brother Schiff, this young giant from TSU. Is that right?
That's right.
And not so much this man, but this young man has been the target of certain threats. And we just want you to know, my brother, that that goes with the territory. When you want to liberate your people, there are those who want to frighten you back into slavery, and we refuse to go back. God bless you, my brother. Love you. Love you too. I want to thank our President Cox, for standing firm, because this is an institution of learning. And as an institution of learning, we should never be afraid to expose our people to different points of view. For if this institution has done its job, then no one need fear your being misled. For if I am what they say I am, a bigot, a hater, an anti-Semite, just no good person, surely you will be able to see it. And if you see me as a hater, a bigot, an anti-Semite, you know where to put me. The garbage pail is not full yet. It can hold one more bigot, one more anti-Semite, one more hater. But if I thought I was that, I would be so ashamed of myself. But I'm so far from that. Those who call me that do that to keep you from me and me from you. But to my dear members of the press, take a look. Isn't it a beautiful sight in Nashville, Tennessee? Our hearts swell with pride when we look at you, because you look so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. You look so dignified. You look like you came out here expecting something tonight. And by the help of Almighty God, I do not intend for you to go away not half full. I want to fill your cup by the grace of God until it's running over, so that when I come back again, if it pleases God, your cup will not necessarily be running over because you have to use the oil that you get. And if you use it properly, you will be a different people when you know who you are, when you know what is expected of you, and when a program is put before you that is easy for you to follow. This is a great institution of learning. In fact, the city of Nashville is a very special city. Like Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta has become the capital of black educational development. I don't know of another city with so many black institutions in it as Atlanta, except when you come to Nashville. Nashville, the home of Fisk. Nashville, the home of Meharry. Nashville, the home of Tennessee State. Three great black institutions. Without the presence of these three, where would we be in terms of medicine, dentistry, surgery? Where would we be without Fisk? Where would we be without Tennessee State? Why now do they wish to put the burden on this president and his predecessors to desegregate what they segregated? They act as though there's a race problem here. I was not aware of that. I have never been in a black institution in America that did not welcome whites to come and learn there. If you feel that this school is segregated, don't put the burden on this president. Put the burden where it rightfully belongs. Segregation is not the problem here. It never was the problem. This was the only place of refuge that we could go to get a decent education in America. From the time that we were children, our parents told us that education was the means of lifting us from slavery. Tennessee State was founded for black people because white people did not want us in their institutions of learning. So, with deep respect for Judge Wiseman, if he is really wise, Tell the judge the problem is not here. Go and desegregate the white institutions and tell them, let black people in. Don't you think that would be a proper approach? Tell the white institutions, we want 50% black. Tell the white institutions, we want 30 or 40% black. Since you take so much of our tax dollars, then give us the scholarships that you're giving white people to come to Tennessee State. Give us those scholarships. To tell our president, we want 50 to 60% white. We want 50 to 60% white teachers. Where will the black teachers go since they cannot get tenure in white institutions? I think there's something insidious here. And I would like to point it out. I hope that I'm not embarrassing our president or anyone, but he didn't know what I was going to say, and he didn't brief me before I got here. This is the first time I met my brother. So I don't want you to put any blame on him. Focus on me. I'm the one that's talking. Now why is Judge Wiseman doing this? He says he wants a colorblind society. Now, Mr. Wiseman, God did not make us to be colorblind. We don't want America to be colorblind. We want America to see us as black men and women and respect us for what God made us. But brothers and sisters, in the 60s, when black consciousness reached its height, it was the black institutions that gave you your leadership. It is out of institutions like this that Martin Luther King came, that Jesse Jackson came, that Kwame Ture came, that H. Rap Brown or Jamil Al-Amin came. It is out of institutions like this that Louis Farrakhan came. It is out of the black colleges that we who grew up in rural America, who couldn't compete because of inequity in education, were able to come to schools like this and be brought along in an environment that was not hostile to us. We learned responsibility here. We learned the beauty of our blackness here. We learned to give service to our own people here. And so the desire is not to open up white institutions, but to break up black institutions. Now, dear black brothers and sisters, when we don't support our own, other people can tell us what to do. We have an aggregate income of somewhere between $200 and $300 billion a year, which many of us throw away on alcohol, drugs, and wild parties and foolishness. But if we were to marshal our own spending power, we could support Tennessee State. We could support Fisk. We could support Meharry. And then nobody, wise man included, could tell us what to do with what is our own. But as long as you're sitting around like a beggar, begging white people to do for you what you should get up off your lazy backside and do for yourself. Then we will always be slaves, mental tools used against the best interest of our own people. And we would deserve it. I drove by Fisk today, and I saw peeling paint and broken windows and Fisk insignia falling down. I saw the grass uncut. I saw this beautiful institution that made so many great men and women dying on the vine. It hurt me because some of us can put a paintbrush in our hand. And some of us know enough about brick masonry to go fix that sign. Some of us know enough about plumbing and woodwork to go on and rebuild it. And some of us have benefited enough from Fisk. But just like we treat our mothers who brought us into the world with fainting and pain, but when they get too old to care for themselves, we push them off on the side or put them in old age homes or nursing homes and leave them alone with Alzheimer's disease. But they cared for us when we couldn't care for ourselves. They changed our diapers when we were filthy. They woke up in the middle of the night when they heard our cough and our cry. But naturally, if we don't respect our own mothers, how can we respect our alma maters or our other mothers who nurture us into wisdom? My talk tonight is stop the killing. But I had to start where it hurt the most. Because these institutions have given us too much for us to walk by and be silent while they die. We need to say to them, hold up. We know you got a master plan, but you didn't let us in on the plan. You told us about the buildings you were going to put up. You told us about the money you were going to invest, but you didn't really tell us what your real master plan is. But I know it. Brothers and sisters, with all due respect, you really need leadership that is not blind. Because the scripture says if the blind lead the blind, both fall in the ditch. And I respectfully submit that most of our political, religious, and educational leaders are spiritually blind men and women who do not know the time and what must be done in such time. We know what we have been taught. We know how we have been trained. But he who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes the circumference of your activities. And so when your slave master educates you, he'll never educate you to get out from the pull of his own power. So you have to go beyond the education of your slave master's children. You have to go outside of that to find the knowledge that will make the knowledge that you get here work for you. Because what you're getting here will never work for you unless you get the key to what you're getting. And what is that key? I thought your subject was stop the killing. There's all kind of ways to kill people. And one of the most tragic ways that we are being killed is to be offered something that we'll never be able to use and call it knowledge while they know it is inferior, and withhold the key of knowledge which will allow you to unlock the inner meaning of what you think you know, that you may use it to set yourself free. With all of our education, we are still beggars at the foot of another people. With all of our education, we have no factories that can employ our young men and women. We all wear clothes, but we don't have one clothing factory to garment our own bodies. We all got on underwear. We didn't have a factory producing one pair of pants that we have on under our pants, under our skirt. Isn't that terrible? 30 to 40 million of us wearing shoes and we don't have a shoe factory. Well then, what good is education if it doesn't free you and make you independent of others, but you have to come right back and beg your former slave master for a job? Is that what you're being educated for? I say, let's stop the killing. Stop killing great human beings with inferior knowledge. Stop killing the mind of black people with that which will make them feel inferior. Stop killing the mind of white young people with white supremacy. Stop killing the world with lies. Stop the killing. The human mind is created by God to feed on truth. The Bible says God created the heavens and the earth with wisdom. The Quran says God created the heavens and the earth with truth. Truth is above our heads, beneath our feet, and all around us. We came to birth in a universe where nothing in it is false. our own brain cells. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me are created to think right. And the only way the brain can think right is if truth and light is present in the mind. If we think right, we grow in vision, and we can grow from sperm to become a manifestation of God. But when the mind is fed falsehood in the place of truth, the brain cannot function on falsehood because it was created in truth. So when you feed the mind lies in the place of truth, half truth in the place of truth, you kill the power of the mind to vision. You kill the power of the mind to be what God made it to be. I hope you're listening. We got to stop the killing. You can't stop the killing until you stop the liar from the lies, the deceiver from the deceit. And the Bible teaches us that the whole world had been under a master deceiver, a great serpent that deceived the whole world. Well, we're in it. Did we get deceived? Have we been victimized by falsehood? If we have, what effect has it had on the beauty of our minds? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you take a piece of wood and you plane that wood, you know what a plane is. When you plane that wood against the grain, you destroy the beauty of that wood. When you feed the mind lies, you destroy the beauty of the mind. So that the human being today is nothing in comparison to what he was and what he could be, because of the presence of lies. Well, what lies have I been told? Well, we'll just name a few. May I ask, why are you black? Well, since you asked, well, I'm black because God cursed me. I mean, that's the best thing God could do with his time. Curse 11 people to one with darkness of pigmentation. Is that why you're black? If you believe that, what effect did it have on your brain? If you believe that you're black because you're cursed, if you believe that white folk found you running around in Africa with a bone in your nose, running up and down trees like a savage, if you believe that, what effect did it have on your brain? Just talking. About stop the killing. If you believe that you and your fathers never contributed anything worthwhile to civilization, if you believe that, what effect does it have on your brain right now? You believe that Christopher Columbus discovered America with all of these Native Americans here? You believe that George Washington chopped down that cherry tree and never told a lie? I know you believe that, don't you? You believe that Abraham Lincoln freed you and you're still singing, "We shall overcome"? Did you believe? Do you believe that in a few days from now, that on the 24th of December, a white man in a red suit is going to come floating down out of the north to come in your chimneys and drop something down for your children? Do you believe that God and Jesus and all the prophets were white people? Come on. I'm just asking questions, because you know what you were taught. You believe that after you are dead, you're going to rise up and float up into glory. But we got telescopes now that can spy the far planet Pluto 4,600,000,000 miles from the sun. Ain't seen no golden streaks up there yet, but you believe that you're going there. Come on and talk to me. I want to talk about stop the killing. You believe you're going to drink sweet milk and honey. Haven't seen no cows in our binoculars. Cows eat grass. And when they eat grass, they make milk. Bees get nectar from flowers and make honey, and flowers grow in earth and grass grow in earth and cows feed from earth, and you're gonna wear silk and robe on a body that ain't there from a worm that don't exist in space, but you're gonna be up there in glory. Somebody been lying, and we gotta stop the liar in order to stop the killing of the human mind. Give me some juice on this thing. So you've been educated. Or have you been killed? What does the word education mean? It comes from two Latin words, e and duco. Duco means to lead, and e means out or out from. When you're educated, you have been led out from darkness into light, from ignorance into knowledge, from weakness into strength. Have you been educated? You know, if you buy a used car or a brand new, looks good, but then when you get ready to drive it out of the lot, it don't move. And the salesman said, it's yours, but the car don't move. You take that man to prison, take him to court, charge him with fraud. Huh? But we need to charge somebody with fraud who said they educated us. They gave us something that they call knowledge, but you can't use it to free yourself because you're still a slave to the same power that your father without education was a slave to. Boy, boy, boy. I don't mean to hurt your feelings. I don't mean to hurt your feelings. I just want to stop the killing. Black brothers and sisters, up here, we've been hurt. And you know how you can tell when a person's mind is messed up? You listen to their words and you watch their actions, and then you know they have to be confined. When you listen to the words that come out of our mouths, and you look at the deeds that our hands are doing, you say, what has happened to our minds? Look at our example, white people. What kind of shape is your mind in? Oh, you did too. Can you imagine some... Give me some juice. Don't take my juice from me. Can you imagine a mind so sick that they believe because they're white, they're better? Not because they know more, not because they're righteous, but because they're white. Is that a person that's well? Can you imagine a sick man coming to the Indian let him in, treated him like a brother, and then he slaughtered the Indian. And now the Indian is on reservations in his own land with no justice. But white folk are well? Hell no, they're sick. Their minds are messed up, and they are our teacher, and they messed up our minds. Yes. We're going to talk tonight. I haven't been to Tennessee in 10 years. I want you to just hang with me a little bit tonight. We got to stop the killing. Can you imagine? Our poor fathers in Africa minding our own business. We didn't come here on the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. We didn't come here seeking no freedom. We were no refugees trying to find some place to land. These people came and got us, and some of our own brothers sold us. And we end up on a ship. Millions of us dying in the Middle Passage. But it's all right because black people aren't worth that much. Who said so? Sick white minds. Are you all right? Why does this thing keep shutting off? This is a bad transmitter of truth, ain't it? Brothers and sisters, when our fathers' lives were devaluated because of the blackness of our skins, and whites looking at us as subhuman, they didn't only devalue us, they devalued themselves in the process. And so now you look at your black life and you don't give it any value. I don't want to use $1. I'll find something else. I got something else. Here's $50. And look at this. Does this have some value? Come on. Yes, it got value. This is a medium of exchange. Put this in your hand, you can go get something, $50 value or less. That means this is worth having, isn't it? Huh? Sure it is. Now I can roll it up. It don't say nothing. I can throw it down. And it ain't said nothing. I can step on it. Haven't said nothing. But it has become so valuable that people kill people for paper. He is a dead president. Mr. Grant, who granted us nothing. But this has value, but you don't. So we kill each other for this. They have in Los Angeles a Rolex watch bandit. Okay. Thank you. A Rolex watch bandit. A man had his Rolex watch and a diamond ring, and when the bandit came to get the watch, he didn't want to give it up. They took a chainsaw, took off the man's arm with his watch and his ring, because his arm didn't have any value. But what Rolex made had more value than what God made. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Some of you selling the white powder or crack cocaine, it's got street value. And you kill one another over drugs, because a drug that comes from a plant has more value than this that comes from God. Something is wrong. We go to church. Our reverends tell us, help them build a new church. And we build a new church. When you walk inside the church, people say, shh, 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 shh. Be quiet, be quiet. You're in the house of God. If somebody is not of a high station and steps up on in the pulpit or the altar, step down. Get. This is reserved for the priest. This is holy. Only the priest can come in here. My God. What is your building made of? It's made of stone, mortar, wood, glass, carpet, speakers, microphone, colored glass windows. Beautiful, isn't it? But that's your vanity. You made that. Who's the architect that made it? You the architect. Who are you? But who is the architect of this?
All right. Go ahead.
Talk to me. Who was wise enough to fashion sperm? And in sperm is a full human being yet to be developed. Who was wise enough to be the architect and the master of human life? This is the real house of God. There's no cathedral, no mosque, nowhere on the earth more valuable than you. You are the real house of the living God. Are you listening? But you put more value on the house of stone built by men than you put on the house of flesh made by God. And you're educated. But you don't see your value. You're educated, but you don't see the value of your woman. You're educated, but you have no reverence for the womb that bore you. You're educated. You're educated, but you don't know how to become a man. You're educated, but you're twisted so that you are a male that sees yourself as a female in the wrong body. You're educated, but now you have changed the natural use of the woman into an unnatural use, but you're educated. You're educated. You're educated. But the dogs treat their own better than you treat your children and your wives and each other. But you're educated. Stop the killing. Reverend, what have we been preaching? Church is full of fashion-conscious people bringing their latest styles to the house of God, but not bringing their hearts to be taught, edified, grown into manifestations of God. But you're educated. You got all these letters behind your name. The number one letter is BS. That means Bachelor of Science. Bachelor of Science. BA, MS, MA, LLD, MD, DD, PhD. You got all of that, but you haven't evolved to become human yet. A world full of beasts in human form that have yet to evolve into a full developed human being. But you're educated. You're educated. You're so educated that you cannot integrate your education to become whole in your knowledge. You stand like a branch or a twig on the branch of knowledge in your area of specialty. But you can't relate your area of specialty to another area of specialty because the way you've been trained, you can't see the whole. I just want to talk to you tonight. We're just going to stop the killing. Beloved brothers and sisters, the Bible opens with a book called Genesis. In the word Genesis, you have the word genes. Genesis is the beginning, and the beginning of us is our genetic makeup. In In the Bible's book of Genesis, you have the whole of the 66 books of the Bible wrapped up in the Genesis, but it takes those other books to evolve what is written in the Genesis. I'm coming to something. Just bear with me. We're talking on stop the killing. The Genesis is called the first book of Moses. But Moses was not in the Genesis. He knew nothing of the beginning. He wasn't here. Moses was a liberator. Is that right? Then let's ask ourselves, why is Genesis called the first book of Moses? Who was he talking to, and what relevance does it have to you and me and our subject tonight called Stop the Killing? Can it be found in the Genesis? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved on the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And he saw the light, that it was good. And he separated the light from the darkness, and he called day, and the other he called night. Let's look at it. Moses is talking now. He's a liberator, but he's telling something to his people through the Genesis, through the beginning. They have to know something about the beginning in order for them to have a beginning. Please understand, because every beginning is related to the beginning. You didn't hear me. I'm going to say it again. Just walk with me a little bit tonight. Every beginning is related to the beginning. Everything in the beginning was in darkness. And that's how we began. In the darkness of our mother's womb. Talk to me. No light there, just darkness, huh? In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Stop right there. Why did you say that, Moses? I've got to show my people the relationship between heaven and earth, because earth can't do nothing without that relationship with heaven. What you mean? God brought light out of darkness. Now the light of the sun is what energizes earth. Talk to me. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I want you to follow this because everything is related. And I'm going to touch, with the help of God, all your disciplines in my discourse tonight, just to show you that religion is the most relevant of every discipline. But religion has been taught wrongly. And I want to prove to you tonight that religion is no ethereal madness. Religion is supreme science. And when you get a true religious teacher, you have a supreme scientist in your midst who don't deal with guess, but who deals with actual facts. Listen, the light of the sun has a relationship to the earth. The earth moves by the light of the sun. Is that right? The sun and the moon have a strong attracting power on the waters of the earth. And it draws the water up from the earth in a fine mist which the naked eye can hardly detect. And that mist forms what you call clouds. These clouds cannot get out of the gravitational pull of the earth because of the speed of the earth's rotation. She revolves around the sun at the speed of 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. And as she moves, she creates the force that inclines everything on the earth to the earth. What are you saying that for? Because without the light above, the water doesn't come up from the earth to form clouds, that the clouds may be blown by winds over dry earth. And when the cloud gets heavier than gravitation, she distills back to the earth in the form of water, or in a light fluffy form called snow or ice, depending upon the current of the atmosphere that the cloud is in. Listen, as the water falls on the earth, the seeds in the earth that have the ability to grow into grass, into flower, into trees, that seed cannot germinate without the presence of water, without the presence of sunlight. So without heaven and earth having a relationship, there's no growth and development on the earth. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, if the scripture says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved on the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. Now look at that in relationship to people. You got a heaven part of yourself and an earth part of yourself. You have been so focused on your earth part, you have let your heavenly part go. And so you have become void as an individual, void as a people, void as humanity. You are voided because no human being is living according to what God has made us to become. The birds are on their post. The bees are being bees. The sun is the sun. The moon is the moon. The stars is the star. Functioning. Everything is functioning except you. Man, woman, we're voided. We have not justified our own existence. So God is ready to remove this whole thing. He don't care nothing for white people. Let me talk to you. Oh, I'm going to get to you black people in a minute. But I want to talk to white people now. You're in trouble because your world is totally contrary to what God wanted. You have not justified your existence on the earth, so you're in trouble. But don't excuse yourself, black man, because neither have we become what God wanted us to be. Japanese, same thing. Chinese, same thing. Human beings, nothing but beasts in human form. God didn't make you to be no animal. He made you as his glory. And until we fulfill our destiny, then we're not doing what God wanted us to do, being what God wanted us to be. And have you been educated? And just look at this. This is your heaven. and this is our earth. This flesh comes from the earth. The bones are the stones of the earth. The blood is the water from the earth. But look here, this is your heaven. And if there is no light in the mind, if you don't have the sunlight of truth in your mind to direct your hands and your feet and your flesh, then you are without form and void, because darkness is upon the face of the deep. Are you listening? Are you all right? I don't want you to go to sleep now. This is classroom. Now look at this. The sperm has a head on it and a tail. In the head of that sperm, there's the possibility of a fully developed human being. But that sperm cannot be what it should be without the egg. Now, the female carries that egg, and the female carries the womb. Lord, women, if you only knew who you are, you would never allow yourself to be degraded again in this life. If you knew who you were. God gives the whole of creation the feminine gender, she. For all you male chauvinists, the universe is she. The sun is she. The moon is she. And let's look at her a minute. Now, that womb out there called space, God used his wisdom over the womb of space to manifest his glory out of that womb. So he said, be, and light came up out of darkness. And he got lights everywhere now, stars everywhere. You can't count stars. God loved light. The universe is pregnant right now. She's always bringing in new things. So the man with his telescope would say, ooh, a new star. Ah, another planet. Oh. Ah, why? There's a force out there that brings new things in as old things die. That womb called space is God's workshop. And this womb of the female is God's workshop. He makes the woman to have a womb like his universe. And he gives you, female, two wombs. This womb and this womb. And depending upon what you got in this womb will determine what you got in this womb. Now let me prove my point. Y'all all right? Just follow me. You okay? Bear with me a few more minutes, all right? Sisters, you are so powerful that if you are deprived of knowledge, then you can't make the right kind of child. For the scripture says, a wise child maketh a glad mother, but a foolish child is the heaviness of its mother. No man should ever stand in the way of a woman gaining knowledge. No man should feel threatened by a woman gaining knowledge. The wiser the woman, the greater the child. The more light in the woman's mind, the more light in the womb of the woman. Y'all all right? Man. Well, my mother didn't have no education. But my mother, it's not education that you need. It's light. You make the false assumption that education is equal to light. If it were so, you would be doing better than you're doing with what you have called education. But look at what we produce with our education. Nothing. Then nothing from nothing leaves nothing. What you have been given is nothing. But nothing has value if one comes and stands beside zero. Then you got 10. Because only when one is present can one generate into nothing and make nothing something. And the one in mathematics is the same one in religion. God is one, and wherever God is present, nothing can't be nothing no more. I hope you understand me. Look, y'all all right? The universe was not there. God created it out of nothing. His presence is what makes nothing something. This education that you have received has value, but you have done nothing with it because the one has not been present in and with you. I'm coming back to the woman. Sisters, look, you're not here for the pleasure of man. Let me make that very clear. God gave man pleasure in you, but man has to be worthy of finding pleasure in you. Let me make myself clear. It's all right, brothers, if I mess up your world for tonight. But I just want to put some knowledge out here. I'm not trying to mess over things, brothers. I'm your brother, and I love you, but we just got to set it right. See, brother, the scripture says God made man first. Stop right there. Don't get uptight, sisters. Sister said, I ain't worried. We're back in the Genesis again. God made man first. God didn't make niggers. Now don't get uptight. No, wait a minute, sister. Don't get a frown on your face. I didn't mean no disrespect. Because white folks in here. I got to talk straight. The scripture didn't say God made niggers. God made Negroes, colored people, shine, ham bone. The scripture said, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our own likeness. Stop right there. So if you a nigger, God had nothing to do with that. God make men, white people make niggers, Negroes and colored people. Yes. This is not the handiwork of God. This is the work of white people. They made this. And this is the witness against people. A tree is known by the fruit it bears. And a man is known by his works. God didn't make niggers. He said, let us make man. How you want to make him, God? I want to make him in my image and after my likeness. You mean you made me in your image? All right. And in your likeness? You mean you gave me attributes like your own? You mean you allow me to will and to bring out of nothingness what I will? If I can vision it, I can bring it into reality even like you do. You made me your child. Then I don't need no white man to tell me I'm valuable. I don't need nobody to give me my value. No diamond ring can give me my value. No Rolex watch can give me my value. No damn alligator shoes can give me my value. No mink stole can give you your value. No long braid sister can give you your value. No wig can give you your value. If you ain't got no hair, you got value. If you don't have the biggest bosom in the world, you got value. If you don't have the prettiest legs in the world, you got value. God didn't say he was making legs. He was making bosom. He made a man. And then he made a woman. Now let's talk about that man first, because you see, sisters, y'all have trouble with your men. Excuse me, I'm walking back and forth. I guess this is my exercise, you know. But all of our women are unhappy. They're unhappy because they're unfulfilled. And they're unfulfilled because, brother, we as men have not yet been what God made us to be. So if we are not what God made us to be, she can't become what God made her, because our relationship is intertwined and interdependent upon one another. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go back to the Genesis. Y'all all right? Talking to the black man. Brothers, God made you. You're powerful. You can't be in the image and likeness of God and be a chump. There's no male in here that's a chump. He's a chump by circumstance. He's not a chump in the nature in which God made him. Every one of these men in here tonight is a giant. But he has to be fed right in order to grow into his potential. Now let me show you, beloved, what God has put in you, in me, in us. You don't have no right to look at me thinking that I am something that you are not. I am not something that you are not. I am only a sign of what you really are. Do you hear me? So don't have to admire Farrakhan as though Farrakhan is something so special that you need to look up to me. No. But God makes a lion to roar so that the other lions who've been acting like pussycats will know what a lion sounds like, will know what a lion looks like, and then they'll begin roaring all over America to let them know that the king of this jungle is coming on up now. There's a lion asleep in Judah. Who will wake that lion? Let's go back to the Genesis. Y'all all right? I'm feeling mighty good myself. Here we are, brothers. God said he made man in his own image, after his own likeness. Then look at this. He said, let us give them dominion. That means the capacity to govern, to rule. That is in every man. This is not on the Bible page. It's in your genes. You're born to rule, born to govern, born to master. God gave that to you in your genetic makeup, and he gives man dominion over what? The fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, and every creeping thing that crawls upon the earth. But God didn't stop there. He gave him some commands. He said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. Oh, that's powerful. What did you say, God? Be fruitful. I know what you're saying, brothers. Yeah, I have been very fruitful. And the brothers sure have been being fruitful. Not frugal, but fruitful. But brothers, that's on one level. And that's the baser level of being fruitful. Being fruitful means bear fruit. Each man is a tree. And we won't know what kind of man you are unless you're fruitful and bear fruit that bear witness to you and the God who created you. Be fruitful. And he explains it. Multiply. In mathematics, you have to have a multiplier times a multiplicand, and it equals a product. What is that saying, brother? When God says multiply, he's telling every man, you are to become a producer of something. And any man that is not multiplying is not producing. How can I multiply? God said, look, I put you here, you man, in my universe. You are the multiplier. This universe is the multiplicand. Take what I give you, multiply it by what's around you, and produce a product that bears witness that you are created in my image and after my likeness. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth. Don't corrupt it. Don't poison the water. Don't poison the air. Don't poison the land. Replenish the earth and subdue it. What do you mean, subdue it, God? Because the earth is a force. And that force is a challenge to what I breathe into your nostrils. If you are a living soul, then you must put the earth under your control. Where do I start, God? Start with yourself. I have made you flesh, but in flesh I put my spirit. The flesh is finite, but the spirit is infinite, and there is a raging battle between the flesh and the spirit. But if my spirit and my wisdom is strong in you, then you can cause your body to come under your control. Then you move out from your body. Then you make the earth submit to you. That's your power. That's man. Now I'm going to give you a woman because I don't want you to be alone. In this kind of work of multiplying and being a producer, you're going to need some peace and quiet of mind. You're going to need a help meet, not help mate, but a help meet, because I'm putting on you a job, and I'm going to give you somebody that's going to help you meet your responsibility to me, and I'm giving you a woman. She's going to help you. Isn't that something? And let me tell you something, brother. God gives a woman a different perspective than the male. And the female perspective is valuable. You ever see a one-eyed monster? God give you two eyes to give you balance. When you only see out of the male eye and you refuse to listen to the feminine perspective, you have the kind of world that white folk have produced. A world of bloodshed and murder that has no respect for the womb of the woman and the children that she produces. I'm going to get to this war in the Middle East in a minute. And I want you to hang with me just a few. Y'all all right? You've been so sweet. You've really been so patient with me. But you know, when you're learning something, it's not bad to be patient and to hang in there. Now listen, brothers, when you go to a woman who is created by God to help us meet the objective that God has given us, and she's really given to us to console our minds and give us peace and quiet of mind, so that the mind can be strengthened, that you may get back on the job that God gave you to do. Woman is important to that function. But when you ask a man, brother, where you going? I ain't going nowhere. What you doing? I ain't doing nothing. What's happening? Ain't nothing happening. Where we going? I'm going over to my baby's crib. Listen to your language, brothers. And I'm going over my old lady's crib. What you going over to a crib for? And I'm going over there to play. That's what babies do in cribs, isn't it? They play. And that's what we've been doing with one another. We're playing with one another. You never play with a man, sister, and it's dangerous, brother, to play with a woman. She's not a plaything. Listen now, brother. Do you know, brother, we don't need a woman if we're not going any place? You really don't need a woman if you're not doing anything. You know what a woman gets tired of? You can be handsome. You can be in the gym working all day, building these pretty muscles. But a woman can't live with muscles. She'd like you to have some. Yeah, brother, we got to have a little muscle now. There ain't no question about that. Poor sister say, ain't he quite a hunk? A hunk of junk. A hunk of what? Ain't he a hunk? But look, sister, you got put in a trick. You married the man. You fell in love. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's a doll, ain't he? Oh, he's the leading football star at Tennessee State. Lord, that man could run. You see the way that man run that ball, baby? That man could dunk, honey. I seen him come down the floor, and he just dunked. And I knew I had to have that man. And then he dunked you, didn't he? You got what you wanted. A hunk. A football player that knew how to deal with a ball but didn't know how to deal with you. Oh boy, we all messed up. We educated. It's great education, ain't it, brother? Don't know how to deal with a woman, but know we need one. Lord knows we need a woman. But brothers, the most destructive thing is to go get what you need and you're not prepared to handle what you need. Then you end up 6 months after marriage, 1 year. You know that woman I married? She ain't nothing. And then, you see, sisters, he's not what he should be. Not his fault, though. He's been killed. Here. Give me 1 more minute and I'll show you that. And when you start beating on him with your mouth, then you really drive that man into the ground. He can't take but so much. The white man has destroyed him as a man. He wants to be a man. He marries you. He loves you. But now you're disappointed because he ain't going nowhere. He ain't doing nothing. Ain't got enough money. Ain't getting up nothing. Then you start saying, I wish that I had married Timmy instead of you. Oh, and you just make me sick. I wish you'd get up and get out of here and try to find you a job. What? You're going into business for yourself. Now look, boy, you know you can't do nothing for you. You better get out there and get that white man job. After a while, the man's so beat down, his shoulders are drooped. He goes out trying to find a job. White folks in Nashville say, I'm sorry, you're overqualified. You're underqualified. He comes home to his wife. Did you get that job? Baby, I looked all day. Honey, let's go in the room and turn down the lights. For what? So you can see. I want the lights on. So you can see there ain't no furniture in the room. Now she's beating the hell out of you, brother. Now the poor brother, you see him 6 months later. You turned him into something. You beat him up with your mouth, beat him down, talked about him like a dog. You either drive him to that or you see him on the corner. He never comes home. What is he doing? Give me a drink, man. What? Crack. What is that? Oh, make you feel good? Give me a lot of that, man. Now he's high on crack. He feels good for a minute, but he really don't feel good because he's really not what God made him to be. But the world now beating him down, and his woman is his last straw. She's grinding him into powder, not because you're a bad woman, but because you don't understand what the world has done to him. And you finishing him off now. Y'all all right? Now the man gets wild and crazy. He comes home, he's mean. He busts you in your mouth. In fact, he lives in your mouth like a dentist. So you got all these battered women. How many of you get beat up by your husband? Don't raise your hand, I'm scared. But no man is supposed to beat a woman, brother. No man should beat a woman. No man should beat a woman. If you gotta beat a woman, you shouldn't have a woman. No man should beat a woman. But, sisters, he's beat down. And the only way he can prove that he's a man now and assert his dominion. But some of these sisters, you want to assert your dominion, they come back with some of their dominion, and that's the end of that. Some of these sisters are some heavy hitters. But isn't that terrible that we're in our homes fighting and killing each other? And our children got to look and see us abusing one another? We got to stop the killing, brother. Now, this is directed to the president of the college and to all of us as men. And it is directed not only to us, but to the whites in this audience. Listen, God wants me, President Cox, all of us as men, to be producers. If you become a producer in America of what we consume, white folk will fight us because in this world they want to be the man and they want us to be the boy. As long as you and I are the boys, that makes white men look big in their eyes. Oh, boy, come here, boy. Pick up my bag, boy. Come on, quick, quick. Come on, boy. Miss Daisy wants you to drive her. Drive Miss Daisy. Boy. But when you say, just a minute, sir, I would like to be a man and do these things for myself. then white male power comes down on the black man to crush him. And that's why darkness and light never could coexist. When God said, let there be light, he separated the light from the darkness, and one party called day and the other party called night. And when day comes, night goes, and when night comes, day goes, but they don't coexist, because two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So if the white man wants to be the boss in his own house, like your daddy want to be the boss in his house, and when you begin to stretch yourself, your father said, well, son, it's time for you to get on out of here and get you a house of your own. And I'm saying to you, black brothers, we'll never be a man in the house of our slave master. We can only be a man in a house of our own that we control. We're the producers. We're the ones that are being fruitful and multiplying. Other than that, he will always be your enemy. Oh, now some white folk in the house. Oh, that's a shame. That Farrakhan is a hate teacher. I knew it was coming. Well, wait a minute. Before you accuse me, every time you've made an effort even to do something for yourself, if you start getting too big, he comes and crushes your effort. You all used to own Jefferson Avenue. You all used to be up and down Charlotte Street. Under segregation, you had your own this and your own that and your own the other. Where is it now? He integrated you to get you to spend your money with him. Now you close down all your businesses. You got a beautiful hospital at Meharry, but Meharry can't fill her hospital because you want to take your black body over to Vanderbilt so you can let them experiment on you. You don't love your own. You don't trust your own. So you're going to let Meharry as a hospital die. You're doing the same thing in Washington, D.C. with the Howard University Hospital. You got to go for yourself. You want to be a man, brothers? Do we want to be men, brothers? Do you want your women to honor and respect you again? Well, how are you going to ever get that honor? Letting another man be the producer for your woman and your children. Talk to me. Let any man in here talk to me. How in the hell are you ever going to be a man with the white man being the producer of your schools, your hospital, your farm, your factory, and you sitting around waiting for the white man to do it so you can beg him for a job? What kind of preachers are we? What kind of leaders are we? What kind of teachers are we? No. He's crushed us. He's killed us. And now we're finishing the job. You hate yourself. You're envious of anything one of you does. You don't want to see your brother go up so your brother can pull you up. But when your brother or sister gets up, here you come to pull them down. You want Tennessee State to be closed down. You want Fisk to be in a state of disrepair. You want Meharry to close. so with your sick mind you can be accepted at Vanderbilt. I'm about to close. We have been killed mentally, and we are a dead people. We are not what we should be, not what we could be, not what we must be. We need to be resurrected. And that is why this figure called Jesus is so important if he's understood. Muslims, please listen to me. In the Quran, Jesus is called Isa ibn Maryam al-Masih. Jesus, the son of Mary, the Messiah. The Messiah is not a prophet. The Messiah is more than a prophet. Because the Quran says the Messiah opens the eyes. Don't leave, please. I know you want to get out before the traffic, but don't leave. You're going to miss the best part. I have just about to get to the Middle East, and I want you to hear this. Y'all all right? Where was I? Yes. The Quran says that the Messiah opened the eyes of the blind, made the deaf hear, and the dumb speak by Allah's permission. The Messiah raised the dead to life by Allah's permission. He determined the form of a bird out of clay, and then he breathed into it, and it became a bird by Allah's permission. Stop there. One of God's attributes is giver of life. One of God's attributes is the raiser of the dead. One of God's attributes is the healer and the healing. Now, whenever a man stands up before the people and makes blind people see and deaf people hear and dumb people speak and raises the dead to life, that is not the man working. That is God working in the man, through the man, for the benefit of man. God then becomes that man might once again become God. Oh, you didn't hear me? This is a dead people. You've been put to death, and you've now become the dry bones in this valley. You're good people, but you need the resurrecting power of God to bring you back to life. You got eyes, but you can't see. You got ears, but you can't hear. You got tongues, but you don't speak. You're on a dead level, on a horizontal plane. You walk the earth like a creature on all fours, like the lower animals. You need to be raised to a living perpendicular and stood on the square. You need the power of God to resurrect you. And when you see that happening through a man, know that God is not to come. God is present. He's in the world. He's in that man, working through that man for the benefit of man and woman. Am I making myself clear? This is the time for you to be raised. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. If you believe in me, even though you are dead, yet shall you live again. Y'all all right? He's not talking to dead people in the cemetery. If you understand how man died, he died in the context of Adam's fall by rebellion. He lives again by obedience to God and following the example of the Messiah. Are you listening? You have the potential power to become a master of all of this. But you must be resurrected from the dead. Now, in our death-like state, we have become our own worst enemy. We have become our own worst enemy. Because now you are dead to who you are, and you devalue yourself, you devalue your women, you devalue your children. And you and I are now the number one destroyers of one another. I know that you get angry when a white man shoots one of our black brothers. We should get angry, shouldn't we? But isn't it worse when every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night we fill the hospitals with one another and nobody cries out about it? Have we devalued our lives so badly that it's only time to cry out when a white man kills us and not when we kill one another? Do you know that one human being is murdered every 24 minutes in America? That by the end of this year, 23,000 human beings will die by murder, and 55% of those that die by murder will be black people, and 96% of those black people that are murdered will be murdered by black people. Did you know that in the war in Vietnam, America lost 55,000 killed, and 35% of the casualties in the war in Vietnam were black? And if we were 35% of 55,000 killed, that means we were 19,250 black people approximately lost their lives in Vietnam in a 9-year war. But this year alone, we will have lost 13,000 in the streets of America. And if this continues next year this time, we will have lost more black men and women in 2 years than we lost in 9 years of actual war in Vietnam. What does that mean? It is safer to rear your children in the jungles of Vietnam in war than it is to rear your children on the streets of the inner cities of America. Nobody cares about us. The government doesn't care, do they? Do they care? I want to show you how the government is responsible and is killing us daily. The government. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just remember, you didn't know what I was going to say. And tell them he said it. And give them the tape. I'm anxious for the government to pull me into court. Bring me before Congress. By the help of God, I'll grind them into powder. They're murdering you and me. Let me show you how they're doing it. First, poverty is crippling us with no health care. Your teeth rotting in your head. You can't go to a dentist because you can't afford it. You can't go to doctors because you can't afford the fee. If you get sick, they won't take you in the hospital unless you got some insurance. You're dying through poverty. You more than anybody suffering from stress, hypertension, stroke, diabetes, cirrhosis of the liver. Most of our illnesses due to an improper diet. Eating the wrong foods, drinking the wrong drinks, smoking the wrong things, destroying our health. Did you know that 30 years ago cancer was a white man's disease? But now we're dying of ovarian cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, cancer of the throat, cancer of the lungs. Why are you dying like this? You don't know, do you? Did you know that in 1960 they had a polio vaccine and they required everybody to be vaccinated? And did you know that instead of vaccinating millions of Americans with a polio vaccine, they vaccinated millions of Americans with a polio contaminant called SV40, which was cancer itself? You didn't know that. Did you hear about the Tuskegee experiment where they infected over 100 black men with the most deadly, virulent form of syphilis and didn't let them know that they were giving them syphilis, and they cohabited with many women and or men for hundreds of years now, about 100 years, spreading syphilis in our community. Do you see how syphilis is growing among us? Gonorrhea growing among us? AIDS growing among us? Black women, black children, Hispanic women, Hispanic children disproportionately affected by AIDS, and we ain't homosexuals? And many of us that got AIDS are not drug intravenous users. Where did you get the AIDS? AIDS is not a natural virus. AIDS is a made virus. Made by whom? For what? You say, oh, that won't happen in America. Did white folks send blankets to the Indians filled with smallpox? Talk to me. Do you think white folks want to keep you living? When you become useless to white people, you better listen. Did you know that 3 out of every 5 black and Hispanic people are being affected by toxic waste? Do you know where they dump their toxic wastes? In every part of the country where black people live, They dump their toxic waste, and now the poison of their toxic waste is gone into the water, into the earth. The radon gas coming up from your houses, killing you, and you don't know you're dying, and the white man is planning this. If I'm lying, white folk, challenge me. Take me to court and say I'm slandering President Bush. You're murderers. You never wanted us to have no strong black leaders. Every time God gave us a head, you chopped it off. Do you know what the value of leadership is to you? Your head is what produces your arms and your legs. They don't come into existence before the head. They come into existence after the head. The reason you are without form and void is because every time a light shows up in the heavens that would give light to you, they cut that light off. And that's why Marcus Garvey was lied on. And trumped up charges were brought against Mr. Garvey. And he was brought to Atlanta Federal Penitentiary and then deported. And only years later did you find out Garvey was really a good man. You at Fisk, W.E.B. Du Bois was a giant. That man was a great giant. But that man could not die in America. He died in Ghana. And in Ghana today, they have a memorial to W.E.B. Du Bois, but there's no memorial in America for the man that taught us so much. Do you remember Paul Robeson? Not only a brilliant singer, but a brilliant mind. We lost him after the press made us think he was a no good communist. We turned on him, and he died in Philadelphia 15 years ago. A recluse, broken in spirit. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was all right as long as he taught black people to be nonviolent in the face of white violence. As long as we suffered peacefully while white folk were beating the hell out of us. Dr. King is a beautiful man. He deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. But when Dr. King took nonviolence to the international level and saw something grossly wrong in the war in Vietnam and began speaking against that war, he paid with his life. Malcolm X didn't die from some crazy black Muslims. Malcolm X is dead because the government wanted to split Malcolm from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Our great leaders have died, and white folk will name alleys after them, streets. You fighting like hell to name a bridge. Let's call this Martin Luther King Memorial Bridge. You can ride over the bridge, but it would have been better if Martin Luther King was alive to be our bridge over troubled waters. It would have been better if our leaders were allowed to live, but white folks snuffed them out or caused us to do it. You're not our friend. Now, Mr. Bush, I want to talk about Mr. Bush. Mr. Read my lips, Bush. Mr. Bush wants you to believe he's our friend. But brothers and sisters, if you read your Bible, the Bible says they feared the multiplication of the children of Israel. And they said, come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and join on to an enemy of ours and remember our evil against them and come against us. So they hatched a plan to kill all the boy babies of the children of Israel. You remember in the New Testament, Herod had the same evil plan. He wanted to kill Jesus at birth, so he missed Jesus' birth. So he said, kill all boy babies from 2 years old and under, because he wanted to kill the Messiah. J. Edgar Hoover set up a counterintelligence plan because he wanted no black Messiah to rise among us that could bring us together. So he broke up every black organization and destroyed every black leader in the 60s from the United States government with our tax dollars. Mr. Reagan, Mr. Bush's predecessor, never met with any black leaders in Congress. Took away all the entitlement program. Cut down this, cut back that, causing you to suffer more. Bush comes in on his heels. He wants to make us think he's our friend. But check out what Bush was doing. He got a black brother. They lured him over in front of the White House to sell a bag of crack in front of the White House. And then the president got on national TV shaking the bag of crack. But the subliminal suggestion was, these Negroes, these niggers, are ruining our nation's capital while they're even selling drugs right in front of the White House. They are creating an atmosphere in America that makes it safe for white people to kill black men. See if I'm lying. Before they attacked Gaddafi, they put it in the newspaper, Gaddafi's a terrorist. Gaddafi is a mad dog of the Middle East. Then when they bombed Gaddafi, nobody said anything. Then they went to work on Noriega. They said Noriega was a drug runner. Noriega was a no-good dictator. After they spread the propaganda last December 19th, while the Panamanians were preparing for Christmas, looking for Santa to come down their chimney, Mr. Bush brought out the stealth bomber and dropped bombs down their chimney, killing from 4,000 to 7,000 blacks and mestizos in Panama City, and the press said it was only 300 or so deaths. Lying press, manipulated by the government and manipulating the American people. And now it's Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein call you a nigger? Saddam Hussein bother you? He did nothing to you, did he? Well, he went into Kuwait and took over Kuwait. Well, what business is that of Bush's? He didn't say nothing when Israel went into Lebanon. He didn't say nothing when Israel bombed Tunisia. He didn't say nothing when Israel bombed the nuclear reactors that Saddam Hussein was building in Iraq. He was quiet as a mouse. He said, our way of life is being threatened. And Barbara Jordan, that wonderful black woman from Texas who used to be our congressperson, she said, we need to find out what the president means when he said, our way of life is threatened. Because, brother and sister, your way of life ain't been threatened. Your way of life is gone. Your way of life is death. And now your madness is threatening all our lives. He ain't talking about us. We are over there to protect our vital interest. Whose vital interest, brother? You mean those oil pipelines in Saudi Arabia is this black brother's vital interest? Is your son's vital interest? You mean to tell me a decent education is not our vital interest? Freeing our people from disease is not a vital interest? Giving black folk decent jobs that they can make a decent living is not a vital interest? You can bail out the savings and loan industry, but nobody gives a damn to bail out the cities where black folk are dying in the streets. But now when America gets in trouble, she says, for you to save her. Brothers, sisters, look, if you will allow me, I want to say to Mr. Bush, until you make us of vital interest to this nation, until you make our concerns of vital interest to this nation, then we have no business in Saudi Arabia defending your vital interests. Bring the black brothers and sisters home. Bring the Native Americans home. Bring the Chicanos home. Bring the poor white people home. Send Bush. Send Bush's son. Send Bush's daughter. Send Reagan's son. Send Reagan's daughter. Send the warmongers' children. And when they come back in body bags, maybe the rich in America will have some compassion for the poor. No, black brother, you'll never be all that you can be by joining the army. My mother told me stay out. My mother told me to stay out of drafts. You catch a cold. And I'm telling you, you don't have no business going fighting for oil. Tell your president, not now. If he threaten you to put you in jail, say you ain't got enough jail. I've been in jail all my life. Living in America is a jail. Living in Nashville, Tennessee is a jail. Living in America is our jail. Stand up like men and tell him, hell no, I won't go. And if you don't have the guts to tell him, send for me, I'll tell him, fire. Black brothers and sisters, from this day forward, look at yourself. The people of God, look at yourself. Vessels of God, look at yourself. Made in his image, look at yourself. Supremely valuable. And don't devalue this precious body, this precious mind ever again. Please, brothers and sisters, don't take things to make you important. You are already important. You were born important. And now, black brothers, sisters, I asked the question in the beginning, why are you black? Now I'll answer. You're not black because you're cursed. You're black because you were the first life that came out of darkness into light. You are the original life in the universe. You are black and comely. You are the very essence of God. You didn't hear me? Now, white people, don't get angry with me and call me a racist. I'm just telling the truth. If the white people were here first, it is a mathematical, genetical, biological impossibility for us to come, because two white people cannot produce yellow, much less brown or black. Is that right? Come on! Why am I black? Oh, man. Why am I black? Am I black because I'm cursed? No, baby. Am I black because I'm nothing? No, 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 no. Why am I black? I'm black because I am the original man. I am the owner, the maker, the cream of the planet. My Father made me to become master of his universe. I am the father of civilization. I am black, and in me is all members of the human family of the earth. I am black, and I am your father, white folks. And this is your mother, white folks. And the Bible says, honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long in the land which the Lord your God giveth you. That ain't racism. That is a fact. Yes. I'm correct genetically. I'm correct historically. I'm correct anthropologically. I'm correct mathematically. The black man and the woman. The black woman is your mama and your daddy and the father of all the races and the mother of all living things. She is Eve. And we are the original Adam. And now we're going back to take our original place, that as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. Thank you for listening, and may Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Minister Louis Farrakhan, come on, Nashville. Give it to him, the champion of black people in America. Minister Louis Farrakhan comes to Nashville. Give him a round of applause. Brothers and sisters, let's have prayer together. Please, hold your places. Let's have prayer, and let's go out like a